All right, we're going to go over the accessories for our Fleetwood neon pop-up. Up here is the generator. This generator will have to be removed to be ran. Otherwise, the exhaust and the fumes from the exhaust will come right underneath the canopy here, and you'll end up getting a bunch of carbon monoxide and exhaust gas in the inside the camper, inside the bed area. So the generator needs to come off. It's easier to do that before you set everything up. It can be done with the bed extended, but if you can get it off before you extend the bed, it'll make removing the generator much easier. First thing I want to show you is this ratchet strap. This is unlike most ratchet straps. In order to undo this ratchet strap, you just need to push the red button. That'll loosen it, and then we can unhook the hook from the other side and pull the generator off. So I'm not going to pull that off right now, but I do want to show you how to start it. This red button on the right is for the battery. It has an electric start, so you're going to need battery power to get it to run. If it hasn't been started in some time, you're going to want to pull the choke out, and then this red button is the start-stop switch. Once it starts, you'll want to let it run for a couple of seconds and then turn the choke off. When it comes time to kill the generator, you'll kill the kill switch, and make sure that you also kill this battery switch, or the next time you go to start the generator, it's likely that the battery will be dead. Over here is the docking station. This is where the power, water, and faucet are. This little door has a kickstand to hold the door open while you're operating in here. Just when you go to close it, make sure you swing that kickstand around or you'll break it right off of there. The extension cord, either from the generator or the power pole, will be plugged in right here. That's what will allow you to run the air conditioning. That will also charge the batteries. The water pump switch is this red one. You'll hear the water pump kick on, and then it'll provide power to this discharge right here. Inside this tote, we have a quick connect for the faucet. This collar just gets pulled back like any air chuck. Pull the collar back, insert the fitting, make sure the collar comes all the way forward, and then you can angle that faucet however you want. The camper does not have a hot water heater, so this faucet is not going to work. It's only the cold that is going to operate. The last switch in here is just a light so that you can operate inside this compartment at night. When you're not using the water pump, I would urge you to turn the water pump off. If there's a tiny leak, you're eventually going to run through the 15 gallons of water that we have in the tank, and you won't have any when you go to take a shower. So I would only kick that switch on when you're using the water. If you find that you need to refill the tank, also in this tote is a garden hose. The one end is a standard fitting that would go to the spigot. The other end that gets connected to the camper has got a quarter turn on-off valve. When the valve is in line with the hose, it is on. When it's perpendicular to the hose, it is off. And then this is a quick connect fitting, similar to the faucet here. The inlet is here. We'll just operate the chuck. Make sure that seat's all the way on there and the chuck moves forward. And then you can turn the water on with that valve. When the tank is full, the water will be coming out of this white piece of hose here. That keeps the tank from overflowing the inside of the camper. So when you see the water pouring out from there, that is normal. That tells you the tank is full. You can just turn that quarter turn valve off and remove the hose, and you're good to go. Let's move inside, and I can show you some of those features. All right, we'll start with the outlets here. This set of outlets that's closest to the docking station only has power when you're running off of shore power, so a power pole or the generator. Any other time, these outlets will not have power. If you need power when you're not running the generator or off of a shoreline, that'll be these outlets over here. These are ran off of an inverter that's connected to the 12-volt battery. The on-off switch for the inverter is in this compartment. This button right up here. So now this outlet will have power while you're not using these outlets. Again, I would urge you to turn this inverter off so that you don't inadvertently kill the two 12-volt batteries that are in here. The last set of outlets we have are over by the bed. This is a standard 12-volt socket and a couple USB ports. These will run directly off the battery, so no need for shore power, no need for the inverter to be on. These have constant 12-volt power as long as that big red battery switch on the back of the camper is on. We have some phone chargers ran underneath the bed, one to each side. These are USB-Cs, and they'll just plug into the USB plug right there. When you go to move the bed in, you'll have to disconnect this because this whole bed travels over this nightstand. So you'll have to disconnect that and just store them right there when you go to pack this thing up. All right, the air conditioner. This will only run off of the generator or shore power. It will absolutely not run off of the batteries. So it has two dials up here. One is to turn the system on and off. There's a fan that's not air conditioning, and it has low, medium, and high. If you want actual air conditioning, you'll turn it over to cool, and that has a high, medium, and low. This optional heat function is not available on this particular air conditioner. This air conditioner is not a heater, so either fan or cool. When you are done using the AC and you're packing up the camper, you need to turn this system back to off, or when you go to plug it into shoreline power, it will try to run the AC with the roof down, and you'll have a hard time turning it off. All right, so make sure that's off. This other valve is just the temperature control for the AC, warmer or colder. A couple other features up front under the bench here is the porta potty. This cap right here is how you'll fill the water tank. It holds a couple gallons of water that you'll use to flush. This plunger over here is how you get water from the tank into the bowl. So a couple pumps of the handle will pump water into the bowl. When you're done using the bowl, this blade on the front is how you dump the contents of the bowl into the black tank. Before you return the camper, you're going to want to dump this black tank, because I will not be doing it. In order to do that, there's a latch on either side of the porta potty. Undo the latches. That'll separate the bottom from the top, and then the rest is pretty straightforward. There's just a valve that you turn, and you'll just dump this into a regular toilet, dump it into a septic tank, dump it wherever you feel is appropriate. The last piece is this gecko cover. This is an insulated cover for the bed area. It's got black on one side and reflective on the other. So if you're using this during the summer, you're going to want the shiny reflective part out to reflect the sun, keep the AC in. If you're using it during the winter, you're going to want the black facing out to kind of absorb some heat. So the way that that gets attached, it is this shape of the front bed portion. You'll have to, in order to get it attached, because the camper is so tall, you'll have to remove the shepherd's hook and lower the roof of the camper down to a point that you can, throw the cover over the top, and you get it with some spring clamps attached onto the fabric here, obviously on the outside. Once it's all draped across, you can raise the roof back up, put the shepherd's pole back, and then there's just a couple of straps that run underneath the bed.